Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and I am rock and roll. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Y'all are like, woohoo and shit. I say that once a week since 1994.
We got some beer in here and shit. We are dorking out about 1994's AIRHEADS, which is finally available for streaming because we've been
of the show.
We've been asking for it. That's why they released Pump Up the Volume and now AIRHEADS. So now release Better Off Dead, you cowards. It is streaming on HBO Max, if you're wondering. It is written by Rich Wilkes. It's directed by Michael Lehman. Mm-hmm. And he did Heathers, which is 100% on our list. Hudson Hawk, The Truth About Cats and Dogs, which I think is also on our list. I think we've gotten requests for that one. And it stars Brenden Fraser, Steve Buscemi, Adam Sandler, Chris Farley. I love seeing Chris Farley. He's always such a delight. Ernie Hudson, Michael McKean, Judd Nelson, Mike Richards, Joe Mantegna.
Yes. Harold Ramis
is in there. David Arquette is in there. Kurt Loder shows up. Rob Zombie shows up. Lemmy shows up. There's all kinds of people in here. Lemmy is God. Let's start how we always start. Did you see AIRHEADS in the theater?
No, I looked at the release date, and that was the summer I bummed around Europe. So I definitely watched it on video. I'm sure it came out. I saw it that was the first way I saw it.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater. I'm pretty sure it played at my theater, but I only saw it the one time in the theater. This is the movie that I think it played in the theater for like a week or two because it was kind of a bomb. And then it was on Comedy Central all the time.
Yes.
So then I would see parts of it like all the time. Like that are like burned in my brain. And the parts that are burned in my brain are usually the Steve Buscemi parts because I really like Steve Buscemi in this movie.
He's great. This movie, I think, it has a 6.1 rating on IMDb. We are asking Dorking Out people, go into IMDb, give it a 10, get those numbers up because this movie is fucking great. It's hilarious, except for the Michael Richards part. We'll get to him.
Yes.
But otherwise, it is funny. It's laugh out loud funny.
Yeah, there's only
super fun.
There's two things that like don't do it for me. One is I'm like Michael Richards, which
he admits it's not a good performance.
Like it's not it's always constantly taking me away from the part of the movie I'm enjoying. So whenever he shows up, I'm like, whatever. And then there is like a constant throwing around of the R word, which you know, doesn't age well. But when you watch it on TV, that they don't say that. So I had actually forgotten how often they throw that word around. And I'm like, but you know, once again, 94. So what are you going to do? But
right.
So just heads up, trigger warning. If like that really upsets you, then maybe the movie's not for you, but that's okay. Other than that, I think it's a really enjoyable movie and I think it's funny and I think it captures, I don't know, a kind of moment.
Yeah.
And I like it. But like I said, Steve Buscemi is like the MVP for me in this movie. I super love him.
Just the way he talks.
Yeah.
Just like they're like Harold Ramis. Let's start from the beginning. Let's start with the story is about.
Yes.
And so it's Brenden Fraser and Adam Sandler, who's fucking hilarious in this movie.
He really
I can't go to jail. I'm fragile.
He's so dumb in this movie, but he's playing a real doofus. And this is before Billy Madison.
Right.
This is also before Tommy Boy. So these are like early movie roles for Adam Sandler and Farley before they became really, really big stars. They were on SNL and they're so funny together on SNL. They don't even they're not even in scenes together in this movie now they think about it. What a wasted opportunity. But I'm sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you.
Oh, that's okay. I'm elucidating the plot right now of AIRHEADS. So they're in a band called the Lone Rangers, which always makes me laugh. And it's a hard rock band. It's a little like slap metal and a little bit of this. Like they're always like defining their sound. And the whole thing, it's funny because it's a time period where they're trying to go against the Seattle grunge thing,
Yes.
which had been out for a few years. So I think they thought that was going to go away, maybe. But it was still kind of clinging on to the culture. So it's a rock station that's, you know, anybody else would be like, well, it's all rock music. What are you even talking about? But to them, but anyway, this is a band. They're trying to make it. And of course, they have a tape, but it's a reel to reel of their song Degenerated.
Yeah.
And that's because Brenden Fraser's vocals are only a particular way and he won't put them on a CD.
Yeah, he's like, it doesn't sound as good when it's on cassette or CD. It's so ridiculous, but yes.
It's silly. And he has a girlfriend, Amy Locane. She had some tragedies happen for her. Yeah, you didn't hear?
No, I don't know the story.
She moved to New Jersey. She got married and left the business and moved to New Jersey, and she was raising a family. And she was in a drunk driving accident. She was the driver, and she killed a couple of people.
Oh no, I don't know any of this.
Oh yeah, so she's been to jail a couple of times for it.
I did not know this. I honestly assumed that what happened to her was the same thing that happened to a lot of actresses that you see in movies like this in the 90s, where I was like, honestly, I just was like, it's probably the Harvey Weinstein factor, right? Where I was like, she didn't do what he wanted and she never worked again. That's literally what I thought. I did not know any of this. That is really sad.
Yeah, I hope she's getting it. I mean, she was getting herself together. I mean, it's tragic for everybody concerned. So that was after this. So this movie, she's hot, she's beautiful, she's the girlfriend of Chaz. Chaz is Brenden Fraser. Yes. And she kicks him out because she's the one that's working at a job and he's just hanging out all day.
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong. She's absolutely correct to do that. So he moves in with the brothers, Steve Buscemi and Adam Sandler. And
what universe are Steve Buscemi and Adam Sandler brothers? But brothers. They act like brothers for sure.
They do. But they do. They're like my brothers. They're silly. They're stupid. They hate each other. They work at a toy store kind of thing, and they steal the merchandise, and they steal these guns, and the guns were going to be sent back because they were too real looking. Mm-hmm. So this fits into the plot. They want to go to the rebel radio station in LA, and he tries to get a record. He goes to a record company, and Judd Nelson gets rid of him, and
it's
then
Alec.
Alec. That's right. And then they go to the radio station. They have the reel to reel with them. Joe Mantegna is like the rebel rock DJ. Very funny in the movie.
I love him. Love him. Every time he shows up, I'm like, oh, yay. I love him.
We have somebody good. Yeah, he's great. Michael McKean, great as the smarmy station owner.
Always funny.
And then we have Michael Richards, who's, I'm not sure what his job is.
Yeah, but is he like, and he's their
salesperson?
Yeah, he's like a salesperson, a like an accountant maybe, or like their lawyer. I don't. Yeah, right. I think he's their accountant, and they've got this like John McClane like Die Hard thing going on with him, where he's sneaking around the building, but he's not doing anything.
No, and we'll get to him. He's he's annoying. Nina Giamasco, she's this office secretary. Like, she's really cute.
So cute.
And so adorable. Everybody drink. And then we have David Arquette as kind of the stoner DJ that works there. And the guys show up and they show their guns on the air to the DJ, Joe Mantegna, and they're like, hey, play our tape. He's like, fine. Play it. They start to play it, and this machine eats it up because it's a reel-to-reel. No one's used reel-to-reel in forever. So then, of course, this is 1994. You got to get a cassette tape. And Brenden Fraser's girlfriend, Amy Locane, was driving around, and she heard his music on, and she's like, asshole. And she throws the tape into the street, which is also what you do.
Totally.
When you break up with your boyfriend who's in a band. And then the band then they're basically holding the station hostage.
Yes.
While they try, and so the police are coming, and Ernie Hudson's the first police officer, and he's like Reginald Van, whatever.
Yes.
Sorry, God damn it. What's his name?
Reginald Van. Damn it! I'm looking it up.
Okay, because we're thinking Die Hard, because he's doing that.
Reginald Van Johnson.
Van Johnson, thank you. So Ernie Hudson shows up, which I just loved because we just saw Ghostbusters.
Yes.
He's the first cop that shows up, and he's the most reasonable, and he's just like, what are your demands? What do you want to happen? Because let's end this. But of course, the LA SWAT team then shows up, and then they want to be dicks and take over. We've all seen this before.
Yeah, the movie, the plot's not going anywhere unexpected, but the fun is going along for the ride. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're nincompoops. I mean, Joe Mantegna explained to them, like, the Lone Rangers, how do you pluralize Lone Rangers? And they're like, what? I don't understand.
Shouldn't you be the three Rangers?
They're like, they just stare at him like,
I don't understand. There's also this thing about, like, Chris Farley is now cruising the Sunset Strip looking for Brenden Fraser's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Looking for a blonde wearing something tight and black on the Sunset Strip. It's like good fucking luck. That's like every woman on the Sunset Strip. It's actually pretty funny, but he somehow manages to find her because he's, I guess, a really good cop. He's
so adorable. Like,
yes.
he's very big in the movie, and so it's like, oh, you're reaching maximum density with that belt there. And he's like, oh, come on.
Oh, come on, you guys.
But he goes to the club and he gets her, and he does that by ripping the nipple ring off of one of the dudes, which always makes me go, ow!
It looks really painful.
It does look painful, but she's going to come back. But the essence is them dealing with the people at the station, and them also then dealing with the police, and they let one hostage go.
Yeah.
And Adam Sandler, like, how come black people don't like me?
She's like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing I wrote in my notes. I was like, there is this whole thing about because the movie's like a comedy version of Dog Day Afternoon, and at some point in Dog Day Afternoon he starts screaming, Attica, and in this one it's Rodney King, and I was like, well, that doesn't age well. Like a bunch of white rocker dudes screaming about Rodney King, outside, and I was like, but yeah. I'm like, no comment.
It's the other stuff that happens. It's just because they're so dippy, and Adam Sandler is just completely wooing the secretary of the place, and they have sex.
Yeah,
and it's a movie sex where it's like she keeps her skirt on and her bra.
Yeah, of course, because it's like a PG-13 movie. She's actually a really funny character. I like.
Oh, great.
She's quite smitten with Adam Sandler from the beginning. I love when there's this big reveal that the Michael McKean character is they're gonna change formats at the radio station and switch to like soft rock easy listening, and she says
the rain.
Yeah, the rain, and she's like, all those blowjobs for nothing, which I think is like such a funny throwaway line that like you would almost miss it, but like the way she said it's really funny. She's quite funny in this part, and
she's hilarious.
Yeah, and the whole thing is that the hostages they take start to become on their side, and
because they're going to lose their jobs.
Yeah,
because
so
of the station.
It turns into a party, and it's like basically heavy metal parking lot outside of the radio station with all these rockers showing up, and all the rocker chicks and their like leather tops and big hair, and it's just fun. I love when they're taking calls on the show and like Beavis and Butthead call.
Yes.
Like Beavis. Look, I'm a child. We've established this with my love of Jackass movies. Beavis and Butthead make me laugh really hard, pretty consistently.
Was my favorite. Yeah. They still make me laugh.
Yeah, we should do that movie soon. That would be super fun.
Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Yeah, and they're like, you should get all those chicks naked. Like, just they're so stupid. I love them very much.
I like Mike Judge's sense of humor.
Yeah. King of the Hill was really, really funny. Office Space, all that stuff, really funny. Yeah. I love it.
So the LA SWAT team wants to go in, and of course, like the man that's in charge is going through a divorce, and he contacts Mike Richards inside the building. And as we said, Mike Richards, who played Kramer on Seinfeld, they said, do Kramer and Seinfeld, but don't. And then, like, be a completely different person.
But you have a mustache, so it's totally different.
And glasses. You have glasses and a mustache, and you're in a suit. So that's going to be so different. And so he just kind of dorks around the place, and he just goes through the air chute, and he's sneaking around, and he overreacts, and he thinks he's hearing gunfire. And it's just like, he admits it's not a great part. Yeah. It's just not needed, and it just takes away from the fun.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the part of the movie that's the most fun is happening in the radio station with the band and Michael McKean and Joe Mantegna. And then you got, Michael Richards. Sorry, Michael Richards is problematic for other reasons, but he's a fucking fun sucker out of this movie. I'm like, oh, every time he shows up.
Yeah, it's not funny. What is funny is they send in Harold Ramis, and it's my favorite scene in the movie. Harold Ramis shows up to negotiate with them, and he says, I'm a record company executive. And so they start quizzing him, and they say first, they're like, okay, Van Halen versus Roth, which side did you take? And he says Van Halen. They're like, he's a cop.
Yeah, I love it immediately. Cop.
And he's like, all right, let me try again. And then it's like Lemmy wrestling match, Lemmy versus God. And he says, Lemmy, God. It's a trick question. Lemmy is God.
Yeah, cop. I love that. That's
oink, oink.
That's what reveals him to be a cop.
It just makes there's just like that stuff like that all over the movie. It's really, really hilarious.
I think it is too. It makes me laugh every time someone shows up. That when David Arquette was not a big star at this point either. This movie is filled with people who weren't quite big stars yet.
Right.
And he's another one where he's just such a fucking doof.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what his role is at the radio station. I love that he doesn't want to volunteer to leave because he's having so much fun. But at some point he does leave, but then he tries to get back in, and they're like, fuck off. Like, you escaped. And he's like, oh man. It's just funny.
But then they have a party out in the lot.
Yes.
And so of course the TV crew show up. So of course it's Kurt Loder from MTV News.
Yes.
He's a big star of MTV News, and he's really funny too.
Yes.
He's like, wait a minute, the Lone Rangers? How is that possible?
How is that possible?
They have Stuttering John from Howard Stern.
Yes.
It's just all these 90s.
It's so
references.
90s. This movie is 100% of its time. It is very, very early 90s.
It's like there's no internet. There's no cell phones.
Yes.
I mean, everything's on CD, and everything's about I love it. Like it's such a culture of a time of just calling for concert tickets and Did
you do stuff like that? Were you always trying to call into radio stations and get concert tickets and all that? Did you win?
Yeah, you know what? I actually was friendly with the crew at Live 105 back in the day. So I used to get all these great concert tickets, and I saw some amazing bands back in the day.
Yeah, my friend Amanda had an office job, and she had that shit on speed dial. She won shit all the time. She won concert tickets all the time. I remember she won a contest where they flew her down to LA to go to the premiere of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Really?
Yes. She won shit all the time. It was a thing. I remember I used to try to call in all the time. I remember 95, 90. I remember 95, 96. I really wanted to win Oasis tickets.
Who wouldn't?
And I was like, I was listening all day trying to win Oasis tickets. I never did win, but I had to buy them like a schmuck.
Well, yeah, but that's hard. It's but you said you need the speed dial. It's all the radio culture because that's really gone away.
Totally. Did you have a radio station that you? Radio stations, by the way, change. Kids back in the day, we used to have these things called radio stations, and they, were super formatted to play a certain kind of music. And then sometimes they would change formats on you and you didn't know it was fucking coming. So like one day you're listening, you turn on the radio to your favorite station and it used to play alternative rock. And now it's Celine Dion. And by the way, I'm not shitting on Celine Dion. It's fine if you like that. But like, it's a big deal when your station changed formats.
Because you would leave it on all day, or that was like your driving music, or you listen to it in the morning when you're getting ready. It was just a part of the day. I loved it.
Yeah.
And I still listen to the radio, but it's like New York radio is terrible. They're constantly doing that in New York. They're constantly changing especially rock stations. Like they can't seem to make money. I don't know why. I guess their audience is just getting old. But
yeah, well, and the bummers are that there used to be like it would be local, so it's like what's happening in your town. So if a band was coming to your area, maybe they would come by your radio station and do an interview, and they would give out concert ticket and all this stuff, and it was super cool. And even San Francisco, which big city, small town, but big city, had so many cool radio stations back in the day, and we don't now. I think we've got one or two left, maybe Alice Radio, which is I think you could still listen to. And then I think that might be it. Like they're all like all the morning shows are all like the Ryan Seacrests and like
they're all syndicated.
Syndicated. There's a lot of pre-recorded stuff. And I mean, I know it's changing. Back in my day, we had radio stations and it was live and blah,
It was regional. That was like kind of the fun of it.
Yeah.
And it's not like that anymore. It's a lot of the stations, they get bought up by a corporation, and the corporations just went through and got rid of all like the local morning shows because that was just salaries they didn't want to pay anymore. And like you said, they'll put a Ryan Seacrest, or they'll take Bubba the Love Sponge or somebody like that, but just put them in a bunch of markets.
Yeah, or Howard Stern. We had Howard Stern.
Yeah.
We had well, you mentioned Live 105. We had Alex Bennett for years, and then I guess they got rid of him and they wanted to get younger people. They put in Howard Stern for a little while. It didn't really click here. He didn't last that long here, actually. And then I don't even know who's on Live 105 now, but yeah, that kind of stuff is just gone.
Yeah. Yeah, K-Rock in LA, which I think was the basis for this movie, they also just like at the beginning of the pandemic fired everybody. And then it just sucks, like you said, because there's something like regional about it that's fun. Like, I love being in a car and listening to music, and I like to listen to the radio. I want to, I don't know. I like hearing the news and the weather and the whatever.
Yeah, I totally get it. It's just different now. It does. I mean, I rarely listen to the radio now. I listen to satellite radio sometimes, but I mean, I mainly listen to a lot of podcasts. But before all of that, the radio was the thing. It was always on wherever you went. A radio was on. You're in the mall, a radio is playing, and they're playing music and they're playing the news, and you're getting the weather, and that shit was
traffic.
It was super fucking important.
Yeah, it's just like things change.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on. They're going to change into The Rain, and it's going to be, Michael Bolton and all that crap, which I'm not shitting on. And I am, though, because that's what my mother really loved, and we all got sick of it super quick in my house. It was Garth Brooks and Michael Bolton for like a year.
Yeah.
That was nonstop. But so the staff is like, well, fuck it. We're going to lose our jobs anyway. Let's like help them out. And basically they try to get the cassette tape. They bring it in, and Chaz is so like, he won't sign a record contract unless they actually hear his work.
Yeah.
Like Judd Nelson gets in there and they're just like negotiating a contract just because it's a spectacle. And he actually wipes his butt with the contract.
Yeah, you.
I know, that was like gross. So they do a live concert. outside.
Yes.
And I just love this kind of switch. Like they're outside and they're playing this big crowd, and then they dive into the crowd. It's, oh, they love us. And they're like, they're just high and having fun. But they dive into the crowd, and then they show up and they're in prison playing the song. And Steve Buscemi's doing that thing where he's grinding the bass like, to the audience.
Yeah. They're like, dude, what are you doing? Duh.
I'm just, it's silly. It's very silly.
It is a very silly movie. There's also a scene where the cops have now done their research and they find out that Chaz was, his real name is Chester, and he was a nerd in high school. What? And I think that scene is shot so funny because it's shot like it's this really big reveal, and that somehow he's ruined. He's ruined because he was a geek in high school like we all were. And then, like, you know, he says, I played D&D, I ate my boogers, I collected bugs, like all this stuff. And then somebody in the audience yells, like, I played D&D too. And then everybody starts revealing these geeky things that they were into. And there's like the dude who's like, I masturbated constantly.
That's Stuttering John from the Howard Stern show, who had a record contract himself.
People like beat him up.
Yeah, they don't slap the shit out of him. I love also the fact that they decide that they're going to send a list of demands, but they'll make them really demented so they can later plead insanity.
Yes.
So they wanted a football full of cottage cheese.
A giant baby bottle.
Naked pictures of B. Arthur.
That's actually a funny callback too, when they walk by and Adam Sandler's looking at the pictures and they're like, nice. Like B. Arthur looks great.
It's just silliness. It's the same year that like Pulp Fiction came out.
For sure. Yeah, it's a totally silly movie.
It's a silly movie. It's not like aiming for anything higher than it is. I think if it came out like a couple of years before, it probably would have done really well.
Yeah.
But it didn't. I mean, it came out in 94, but I just stupid love it. I find it really enjoyable. I watch this movie and I don't check my phone. I watch this movie and I'm paying attention to it. Like, I have fun when I'm watching it. It lifts my mood. I know some of the jokes. Like I said, y'all are like, woo woo and shit. I say that all the time.
Also, Margo, you're a rocker chick.
I am a rock chick.
This movie was made for you.
It was genetically designed.
Yes, in a lab for you.
For me. And I just happened to be bumming around Europe when they released it. If it were a year before, I would have helped them. But
like this movie, if you were going to do a double feature, like, by the way, I don't like this other movie very much, but you could pair it up with like Rock of Ages. Like, it's that kind of vibe to it.
I think it's more like a Wayne's World. I think it's really funny. I think it doesn't take itself seriously.
True.
It really it's self-referential. It's sort of like it makes fun of itself.
Yeah.
And the silliness of the culture and what we think is cool and what's not cool. And it really puts a light on the radio industry, and like that's kind of how it is.
It
like
totally is.
You know, they'll fire your ass in no time and just switch it over, and that doesn't work. Okay, we'll try Christian music. That doesn't work. Okay, we'll make it a sports station. That didn't make money. Let's make it. It's that's what it is.
I was reading a review of this movie, and like we said before, this movie did not do well. It made I think they made it for $11 million. The movie made like half of that. Yeah. And critics in general didn't like it. And one of the reviews I read said the movie was making fun of the people that would want to come and see it, like rocker. And I was like, I don't think it is. I don't think it's making fun of rockers at all. I think in an affectionate way. Like, not in a hateful way.
Music.
Yeah.
They love music. They all really love music. I mean, that's the whole thing. And culture can be silly sometimes. Like, just what we get excited about can be, I mean,
I don't think
they didn't know what the fuck they had.
Yeah, I don't think it was shitting on them. Like, are they spoofing it? Yes. But there's affection there. Like, how much they love Lemmy, or, you know, whose side were you on in Van Halen? Like, there's affection here. It's not shitting all over heavy metal fans.
No, I don't think so
I
at
think
all.
that person was wrong.
I think they're all wrong. All those reviews are wrong. The only one that was good was Rolling Stone because he got it. He just fucking got what they were going for.
Yeah, and I think I think the name probably didn't do what AirHeads. It just there's a certain kind of marketing around the movie. I just think maybe they didn't push it out right, and then the bad reviews certainly don't help. But then, I mean, it's made to play on like a Comedy Central.
It is made for cable TV.
Yeah.
It is made for like USA TV, MTV, Comedy Central with commercials, taking all the R words out. It's perfect for that.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Because it's got enough jokes. I just think it has a lot of great jokes, a lot of good setups that pay off.
Yeah.
Like the cottage cheese and the football helmet.
The giant baby bottle. Naked pictures of B. Arthur.
Yeah, that chick from Golden Girls.
It's like, come on, man. How am I supposed to get all this stuff? Like, it's just a fun, easy movie to watch, and it's got a cast that's up for it. I really like it. I think Steve Buscemi is the MVP for sure. He's my favorite. I think, I don't know, his sense of humor, I guess, always works. He wasn't exactly known for comedy at this point. He was funny in movies that weren't necessarily comedies.
Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, like he's funny in that, but that movie, you're not like, that movie's hilarious. Like, it's not known for being a comedy, but he's got a dark sense of humor that, I don't know, clearly fucking works for me because I really like it.
He has those big eyes and like, yeah, it's perfect. They're all really thin. They all just look like the characters that they're playing. They work really well together. I think it's just that they really riff off of each other really well.
Yeah, and this is the first movie with Steve Buscemi and Adam Sandler. Steve Buscemi would show up in Adam Sandler movies for years after this. Like, they clearly hit it off. Like, he shows up in The Wedding Singer. He's so funny in The Wedding Singer.
We covered that. So
fucking funny in Billy Madison. Did you see Billy Madison? Where he like makes friends with him and he puts the lipstick on. So fucking weird. And crosses him off the list of people he's gonna kill. He's fucking funny. He's just funny. And I think I don't know, like maybe I just have a little crush on him in this movie.
He sounds like a big crush on him. He lives in my neighborhood. I think he's single.
Oh, well, maybe
we'll work some out.
I need to come visit. I think he looks really good in this movie. Like, the long hair looks really good on him. Like,
it does. The Rock look looks good on him.
It looks good on him. And I mean, Adam Sandler is cute, and Brenden Fraser is always like we talked about him in Encino Man. Like, we're big fans here. We love some Brenden Fraser. So
yeah. And it's fun to see him like kind of goof on himself too. I mean, they look like rock dude. I love it when they're like they're preening for the audience outside, and Steve Buscemi grabs his crotch.
Well, and there's the perfect gif of him like waving his middle fingers around, and I was like, there's a fucking vibe I'm bringing into 2022. I read about some other people. So I read that John Cusack was a first choice for Chaz, and I'm like, I don't know if that would have worked.
You know what? This is what's great about Brenden Fraser is I believe him when he's playing this part, that he really loves the music that he's into.
Yeah.
I think John Cusack would think he was too cool.
That's a good
because he really likes all that alternative music. Like, he's like a Belle and Sebastian person.
Yeah.
I think he would not get it.
Yeah. I like John Cusack very much.
I do too.
I don't think he's right for this part. And then I also read that Christina Applegate was being considered for the role that Amy Locane plays, and I'm like,
that's Kelly Bundy.
And I think it's too small of a part for Christina Applegate. I think
who is great, and Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Yeah, Christina Applegate she is so fucking funny in comedies. Like we talked about her in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. We haven't done Anchorman yet, but we will at some point. Like, she's underappreciated. She's fucking dope.
Yeah. I think so too.
I love her. Do we have anything else we want to say about Airheads?
Y'all like, woo, shit.
You're so funny. Do you want to hear some other movies that take place at radio stations?
That's a great idea. Go for it.
Okay. Private Parts.
Yep.
Did you like Private Parts? Because I know you're a Howard Stern fan.
I'm a fan, but I honestly think Private Parts is an uneven movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his performance is actually one of the weaker things about it. He loves to brag.
He totally
how good he is. Yeah, but I think it's kind of uneven.
Yeah, there are parts of that movie that made me laugh really hard.
Yes.
And then there's other parts where I'm like, meh, meh.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, and it's all stuff that was like on their radio show, like where they're playing like the dirty match game or whatever. Like all that stuff is funny to me. But yeah, The Fisher King.
I hate The Fisher King. I'm famous for hating a movie that all of my smart movie-loving friends adore, and I always feel like an asshole because I just sit there. I'm like, I ran out of the theater with my friend Lorna. Shout out to Lorna. I think she listens to the show. She'll tell you we ran Crow Canyon Cinema. Or Black Hawk Cinema. Excuse me.
Yeah. You know what? That's fine. I like The Fisher King, but I could certainly understand why someone wouldn't like it. And trust me, there are movies out there that are beloved, and I'm like, brr.
Like the Santa Claus.
Like
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation's the big one. Everyone loves that movie but me. Meet the Parents was another one that everyone loved. That's another one. Me. Yeah, I get that all the time. Talk Radio.
I like that movie. Yeah. And I've seen the play. There was a revival on Broadway, and Lev Schreiber played the lead.
I love him.
Yeah. Oh my. Oh, he's great.
He's so hot.
And Stephanie March was the girlfriend. Yeah.
I'm like, Sonia, don't focus in on people's looks. I'm like, he's so hot.
Oh, my friend went on a date with him. Did I tell you that?
Yes.
Oh,
I would save that voicemail forever.
Forever. She did. I'm sure she still has it.
Yeah. We did an episode on this one just a few weeks ago, Pump Up the Volume, which we love. Good Morning Vietnam.
Yep.
Which I like.
Yeah, I like it too.
Straight Talk.
I haven't seen that in a while.
Oh
wow.
I'm sure I've seen parts of it. I definitely haven't seen the whole thing, even though I love Dolly Parton. But it's got
James Woods.
It's got James Woods, and is he the love interest?
He also him in comedies I don't think work very well. He's a great actor.
Yeah, we don't like him. He's a creep.
I don't like him as a person. He's a total fucking creep. But as an actor, he's talented. Yeah.
Yeah.
For what a creep. Yeah.
Yeah. You know where he was? The only comedy I can think of where James Woods was funny was he guested on The Simpsons.
He's great working in Moe's.
Bodega. he was working. Yeah, he was working at the Quickie Mart. And
yes.
That's the only comedy I can think of. But also, just you can't buy James Woods as a romantic partner to Dolly Parton. She's an angel and he's trash. Sorry.
It's a weird partnership. Yeah.
No. This movie I thought was called Pirate Radio, but it's actually called The Boat That Rocked. Do you know this
I never
movie?
Saw this.
I never saw it either. I've
heard of it.
I've seen the trailers. I'd heard about it when it came out, but I didn't see it. It's directed by Richard Curtis, and it's got Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's got Nick Frost. It's got Kenneth Branagh in it. It's got all these great people, and I was like, shit, I need to go back and watch this one.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I'm going to put it on my list. Oh, here we go. It was called Pirate Radio in North America. There you go.
That's why.
Radio Days.
I love Radio Days. I know. Yeah. Woody Allen is trash. But that movie is fucking amazing. Yes. I'm sorry. I find it so enjoyable from beginning to end.
No, you don't have to be sorry. Sometimes you have to separate the art from the artist.
Yeah.
And I'm 100% sure you saw Radio Days before all of this stuff came out about him. So it's, it's hard. 2 more. Play Misty for Me.
Yeah, that's a creepy movie.
I have never seen it, but I was reading about it when I was putting this list together, and I was like, I need to see that.
Yeah, I think you'd like it.
I think I would too. And the last one is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I love Oh Brother,
I
Where Art Thou.
love this movie. I know. I'm like, I just loved it so much when I saw it, and
I had the soundtrack.
The music. I love the music so much.
I still listen to music from that soundtrack.
Yes.
It's incredible. That's a good list.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to hear what were the top songs of 1994?
Yeah, I do.
And it's the summer of 94. Like I said, I was all around. So these are places I remember hearing overseas as well as here.
Mm-hmm.
Elton John, Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Can you feel the love tonight?
Do we understand how great Elton John is and just how special?
Everybody should be fucking showing him all the love right now. Don't wait.
Don't wait
until he's gone. Tell Elton John how much you love him now.
50 plus years of making music, and he still like has #1 hits.
Yeah.
Like he's so amazing. I love this song, and it brings us to Brenden Fraser. I'll Remember.
Oh, yes.
By Madonna.
From With Honors.
With Honors.
Yes.
We have to put that on our list.
Yeah. Brenden Fraser was he was so handsome. He was so handsome.
And tall. I just love tall.
Mm-hmm.
Warren G, Regulate.
Song's
dope song.
So dope. I love that song. Regulators, mount up.
Any Kamaz, Here Comes the Hot Stepper.
I totally have this song on multiple playlists.
I fucking love this song. Okay, this is one of my favorites. Soundgarden, Black Hole Sun.
So good.
So fucking good. Green Day, Basket Case.
I was super into Green Day.
Yep. And finally here, it's a Neil Diamond song, but it's by Urge Overkill. Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon.
Yeah, the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. You
couldn't escape it.
Every party. This is when I was going to Chico State at the time, and every party I went to was playing the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. I was not complaining. I was like, did I already miss Jungle Boogie? Damn it.
Yes. It's one of the best openings of a movie.
It really is.
When they break into Jungle Boogie, they do the...
Love that song. I love Kool and the Gang. I
do too.
Love Kool and the Gang. The first concert I ever went to without my mom was Kool and the Gang. They weren't even the thing that my friends wanted to see. They wanted to see the opening band. It was like the Barkays or something. And I was like, yeah, we should go see the Barkays and Kool and the Gang. Yes. What else are you dorking out about, Margo?
I caught up with a couple of movies because of the Oscars, the Academy Awards. The Power of the Dog. I finally saw that.
What'd you think?
Boring.
Interesting. I really liked it.
Really?
Yeah. I thought everybody was so good in it.
I think everyone's good. It didn't hold my attention very well.
Interesting.
I know. I'm a child. Coda.
You are not a child.
Coda.
I saw it. Yeah.
Makes me freaking cry my eyes out.
So you watched it, said it was good, and I was like, all right, it's time to finally watch it. And I watched it and cried like a little baby. But it's so good.
Wept. Yeah, it's such a great cast.
Yeah, everybody's so good in it. And the story, like, honestly, we need more stories of just not everything needs to be set in New York, LA, Chicago. Like, could we have some stories that are in other places? More of these, please.
Everything is also filmed in Georgia. Mm-hmm. It's all starting to look the same. Like, if I could always see it, and then in Toronto, like those are two places.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like, this is Massachusetts. It's right by the water. It's a whole culture that it's the deaf culture on top of just the water life culture there, and it's really interesting. And it's the girl that's the lead. I can't remember her name. She is a singer, and her whole thing is that her family, they're all deaf except for her.
Yeah.
And she has this beautiful voice. So there's like that irony, like she has this gift for something that her family can't really appreciate, and then she figures out a way. And then I gotta cry all over
It's so
again.
good. Amelia Jones is her name.
She's wonderful.
Yes. And yeah, it goes back to what telling different stories about different kinds of people, and we need more of this. We've talked about this in different, maybe more on What a Creep, about, because everyone knows like my son is autistic, and like so many, when you say like my son is autistic, they immediately think of things like Rain Man, and I'm like, well, that's not quite what. It's a spectrum, and so we need more stories about different people so that we can understand. And because movies and TV shows, they're empathy machines, and they help people better understand. And that's one of the things I loved about this movie.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I loved it so much.
Yeah, then I wound up like downloading Joni Mitchell and was listening and crying to Joni Mitchell. It just gave me a good healthy cry. And then quickly, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. What a batshit crazy show.
The reunion is tonight, so we should definitely talk about that next week too, because it's unhinged.
Yeah, it's clearly crazy. I saw Law and Order's back, original recipe.
How was it?
Great. It's just what I wanted. And I watch it on Peacock. It's streaming on Peacock on, I think, Fridays. It plays live. It's on NBC Thursday nights, and then it's on Peacock. It just scratches that itch once again. Like, it just does what I need it to do.
I love Law and Order. I find it very comforting. It is a show that when I'm not feeling well, I'm like, I know that Law and Order is on somewhere.
You can always find it.
And the beats are familiar, and I just find it very comforting. I love Law and Order, and I'm totally going to watch the new one.
Yeah. And then The Marvelous Mrs. Maisels, which we were talking about off the air. You're not the biggest fan. You got out kind of early.
Yeah, I bailed after the first season, but I think I might pick back up with the new season because I am just obsessed with the clothes, to be honest.
She looks great. It's 1960, and Midge was kicked off of a tour, a high-paying tour, because she basically outed the person that she was opening up for, which 1960, that's not great.
No.
So it's funny because she's reduced to working at a strip club, which is great. It's just really, it's a burlesque show kind of thing. And then she buys an apartment at Central Park. So it's gigantic. So it's kind of gives you like the luxury of the time, but at the same time, it's like trash and treasure kind of thing. And the high and the low. Yes. It's a nice mixture. I think just Rachel Brosnan, is that her name? Yeah. She's super talented. It's really good. I like what they've done with the characters and where they're going.
I will check it back. Alex Bornstein is the other person we were talking about who plays Susie Meyerson, her manager.
She's on Family Guy.
Yes, she's so great.
She's fucking hilarious. And then finally, you and I will probably talk about this. Love is Blind.
Oh, that's on my list.
Planning.
Damn it, Kate Lavin. One of my best friends, Kate, texted me and Margo and my sister and said, Love is Blind is so great. And I was like, damn it. So I had to watch Love is Blind.
And I had to do it because you were having an Instagram kind of event with it. So I was like, fuck. All right, everyone's talking about this thing. It's batshit. It's
fucking batshit. So in case you don't know what Love is Blind is, I didn't watch the first season at all. So the truth is, I don't normally watch stuff like this, but I have a little bit more time on my hands now. So, but they do this thing. It's supposed to be this experiment where there's like 14 people and they're all dating, but they're in these pods and they can't see each other. So the idea is that you go on all these dates, you don't see each other. But the part that gets me is the forcing of like an engagement is the part where I'm like,
yeah. It's also like it plays into that trope, and I think Allison Roman, is that her name? The actress, she's from Fargo.
Yeah,
she put out a tweet and said, there's this thing that goes out there that says that all women dream of their wedding day when they're a little girl. I'm like, not me.
Right.
This show completely plays into that. And it's also this plays into, you need another person to complete you. Yes. You need another person that's going to be your better half or whatever. Now, supposedly, there's some big surprises in the end, but
Yeah.
leading up to it, there's one blonde woman who's just openly like, "Sure, I'll take your ring," and then she immediately flirts with the other.
Oh my God, she is trash. That
She's
woman
evil.
I don't.
Shayna?
Yeah, I don't understand what. There are things on. Yeah, she clearly likes someone else, accepts the proposal of someone else, even though they are very different people. Like
Yes,
fundamentally different.
And the men are complicit in this. Like, you can't blame the women. I mean, they're
Yes.
kind of going along for this because he's like, "What are you giving her? That it was like his mother's ring or something."
Yeah,
Like,
dude,
what you fucking moron! Like, no.
No, he's a real dum-dum. And I think he just wants to fuck her. I think,
Yeah.
and he was doing everything he could to like make it happen so that he could fuck her, and it didn't work. And I was like, for 100% she's not going to vaccinate her kids. Let me just say that. Like,
There's a lot about her. Yes.
Yeah.
She's going to have a talk with the manager
for sure. And there
at some point. Yeah.
there is this. The idea is so they'll meet in these pods. They don't see each other. And they'll like fall in love with each other's personalities, and then they'll reveal and see each other. And what happens from there? They go on this trip to Mexico, and then they have like 4 weeks to plan their wedding. And then I guess whether or not they go through with it will be the big surprises at the end. But the thing is, so the whole idea is you don't see these people, you fall in love with their personalities, but all the people are pretty fucking good looking.
The ones that make it, and that's the same thing as last year, like they try to go for a mixture of people and body types and whatever, but it's the hot people that you like in life, by the way.
Yeah, and I was like, these are not people who need Love is Blind to go on dates. Like, they can find dates in the real world.
These are people that want to build their Instagram following. They want to
for sure
be influencers. Yes, like that's the entire point of it.
Yeah,
and they say the things that people say in reality shows and those kind of tropes. There's the one guy that's blonde, and I wasn't even looking. I was reading something. I'm like, he must be good looking because he's a fucking idiot, and everybody acts like he's special. And he's the
Shane.
blonde one that is. Shane, is he the one with the tweaky eyes?
Yes, he's got like these crazy. He's got crazy eyes. Like,
well, there's something.
And I was like, do you not blink?
Wrong with him. I think he's a little chemically active.
Yes.
Peppy.
Yeah. And all the women were like, Shane has such a great personality. And I was like, really? Because he looks like a fucking douche.
And I'm like, he doesn't though. But he has the confidence to talk.
Yes, he looks like someone who smells like Axe body spray and would be like, "Can I get you ladies some shots?" And it's like, ugh, gross.
And he's constantly interrupting women when they're talking.
Yeah, and then when he has a disagreement with women, he turns into the biggest fucking baby. I was like, dude, you're too old for this. He's just like, I'm out of here. And just like runs out. And I was like, I was very, very triggered by Shane. I was like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
But I'm totally going to watch it till the end. It's fucking worked on me.
It does. I mean, if you've got nothing else to do, you could put it on and like, you could read and have that on at the same time and like look up once in a while or dust or clean the house or something. I mean, because there's a lot of like dumb talk.
Yeah,
like they're trying to get to know each other, and it's like, oy.
And it's 100% like, I can watch this now as someone who's older than they are and see myself at 28, 29, 30, 31. Like, there is this immense pressure to couple up when you're that age. And it's really, we don't know any different. And you are not allowed to feel happy when you're single.
Right.
Like, I think it's different now than it used to be. I think we are, maybe because of the pandemic, we are getting to a place where people are getting more comfortable with, like, hey, maybe I don't want that. Maybe I don't want to couple up. Maybe there was some study recently that was like the happiest people are like older single women. And I was like, I get it. I'm someone who gets that now. I'm like, this is delightful. I do what I want. Like,
you hear about these women that live to be 100, and they're like, "Why are you like never had kids, never got married?"
And I realized, like, I'm in a different situation. I was someone who was married. I have a kid, so you know, if these women like want the family and all that, there is this immense pressure to find your person to do it. And that I understand. But there is also this mentality of you're nothing or you're less than until you get married. And that's bullshit.
I'll take Airheads over any episode of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, by the way.
That's right, Max.
Right, Max?
Damn it, Max. So on the flip side of Love is Blind, if you're like, what the fuck? I am reading a book right now called A Single Revolution, and it's called Don't Look for a Match, Light One, and it's written by Shani Silver. And it's kind of about this culture of it's okay to be single and be happy. And not that like you don't want a relationship or something. It's just even if you're looking for a relationship, it's okay to still be single and be happy with who you are. So if you're looking for like an antidote to Love is Blind,
great.
I'm like, this is a good book to read. I'm reading it right now. And I was like, gosh, I wish 32-year-old Sonia had a book like this. Like, I'm reading it now, once again, from an older woman's perspective who's been married and had a kid. But like, I am in this.
No, we had the rules. Remember?
Yeah, right? Which was like, here's how you get your man. You know,
how do you ensnare a man?
Yeah, how do you trick a man into marrying you or whatever?
Trap him.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would have benefited from a book like this because it's not about like, I don't need a man to be happy. That's not what the book is. It's about like, there's this pressure for you to be like, I'm miserable and lonely and I won't be happy until I have a partner. And it's like, no, you can be happy in yourself and your life and then meet someone, and it's a value add situation basically. And I think I'm really enjoying the book. I think it's really good. I think it's a good pairing with Love is Blind if Love is Blind makes you feel icky, let's just say.
Right.
On the flip side of that, I also watched the Amazon movie I Want You Back.
Oh, is it good?
And I thought it was very cute. I think Jenny Slate is really, really funny. So
I do too.
If you like Jenny Slate, you are going to like I Want You Back. I like Charlie Day. I think he brings a certain kind of energy. Sometimes that doesn't work for people. I like it. I think he's very cute in this movie. It's really not about them because the whole thing is like his girlfriend dumps him for someone, her boyfriend dumps her for someone else, and they meet up and they work together to like break up their respective exes' relationships. Kind of like a throw mama from the train situation, but
I like it.
Yeah. But
Erwin!
But it's not about them necessarily falling in love with each other. It's about kind of their friendship that they build along the way. I mean, it is a romantic comedy and it is going to go that way, but it's not really about that. It's about their friendship, which I really liked. That. I think it's very cute and they are you root for them. I like them.
I'm putting it on my list. I'm going to watch it.
And I am also watching RuPaul's Drag Race and it's a fucking delight. I love it. I love it. I'm watching, it's my first season watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and it's like in its 14th season. So hot take, everyone. RuPaul's Drag Race is really good, but I'm super into it. So it's on Hulu if you want to watch RuPaul's Drag Race.
Ru is really entertaining.
Yeah.
And I like the message of love, of self-love and self-acceptance and being kind to other people and just also bringing the fabulous out of yourself and having fun, you know, and life is supposed to be fun. It should be fun. Yeah.
I love what they're talking about. And they do form like a little community in there because they all have like a shared background of coming out and how difficult that can be. And then some of them are trans and some are just gay men, and you know, they all come from, they're not accepted, you know, and so they they connect with each other in that way, but they also want to win. So they get a little sassy sometimes. And but I think it's really, really good. And I'm just super into it. Like I said, not a hot take, but.
No, but also, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, because you also mentioned a few weeks ago, HBO Max, Someone Somewhere.
Yeah.
With Bridget Everett. And it is the sweetest show.
I love it.
I'm so enjoying it. She is so likable and funny. And she has a great voice. I've seen her do dinner theater kind of things. Like she's done cabaret shows here in New York at Joe's Pub, and she's amazing. And the cast that's with her, what's the name of the guy who plays her best friend?
I'm going to look it up right now.
Look it up. He's an actor, and that's his story. Like, he was from Texas.
Jeff Hiller,
he was from Texas, and he came out, and then he moved to New York, and he kind of says like that. He brings that to the character. Like, this character's just really nice and grounded and a good person. And he just wants, someone to share a Vitamix with. And he's so likable, it's just so good. It's the relationship with her sister is really interesting.
I love it. And Margo was so sweet to text me because she didn't know how far I was into the show. And there is, a whole thing where like the sister finds out that her friend is sleeping with her husband, and Margo was so sweet to text me and be like, you may not want to watch that.
Or do you need me to whatever. But anyway, but I would just want to, but it is really, but it's just about people figuring themselves out and figure out who they are and what they want out of life. And it's just, and it's very gentle, and I just love it.
The comedy comes from a very real place. And once again, not LA, not Chicago, not New York. Like,
right.
They are they're Kansas. I
think it's Kansas.
Yeah. Like but the comedy is sweet, and it comes from real life, and like people do talk like that and do act like this. And I don't know. I feel like when we get stories from the Midwest, it's a certain kind of person, or it's kind of making fun of people. And this is not mean. It is not mean at all. Right. It is very sweet and gentle. That's a good way to put it. It's really great. And that's on HBO Max too.
Yeah.
You could watch AIRHEADS, and then you could watch Somebody Somewhere.
You guys HBO Max is killing it.
Gilded
Age is really good. That's a show I'm totally loving. It's great.
Yeah, it's so good. Now release Better Off Dead, you cowards. Margo, where could people find you on the internet?
You can find me on social media at Brooklyn Fit Chick, mostly for Twitter and Instagram, and my site is brooklynfitchick.com.
And if you like the sound of our voices, and I assume you do because we're a goddamn delight, we also co-host a podcast called What a Creep, where we talk about creeps, and then we end the episode with someone who's not a creep. We're having a really good time over there. Join us. If you like the show and you want some stickers, you can email us at dorkingoutshow@gmail.com, where we also take requests. So if you have some movies that you were dying for us to talk about, as long as it's streaming somewhere, it needs to be streaming, we'll put it on the list. And I want to give a shout out to Damn It Anita, who I assume did this because of Max. Damn it, Anita, who gave us 5 stars on Apple. Thank you very, very much. That helps us find our people.
Thanks, Anita.
Yeah. And if you want to find me, you can find me at thesoniashow.com. And I am also The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram and the TikTok. And Dorking Out Show is also on Twitter. And you could write on our Facebook. I'll try to check it. This was really fun. I am so glad that we finally got to do AIRHEADS.
Y'all are like, woo and shit.
Woo!